Hare Krishna, all glories to Śrīla Prabhupāda, and welcome to the Sunday morning Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam reading and discussion from the original Delhi Bhagavatams, which we have printed and are now distributing globally through our network of membership in the Prabhupada Disciples Association, Hare Krishna Society. So this is a great blessing for all of us to be able to render direct service to Śrīla Prabhupada by the distribution of these books. And we want to thank all of you for participating in this great service. Today, I was looking at the Krishna book, Mother Rochisha Devi Dasi, and we're just finished the readings, the talks between Krishna and Rukmini, and that there's a next chapter. It's the genealogical table of Krishna. So, a lot of information, detailed information about Krishna. And I thought, well, let's go back to one of my favorite lectures of Śrīla Prabhupada in 1972. It was in October 22nd, 1972. And by the way, everyone, I've heard this lecture 100 times, 100 times, maybe more. And I never grow tired of listening to it because Prabhupada very clearly explains Guru Tattva in this speech. A lot of people criticize us. Oh, how come you talk about Guru Tattva so much? Because it is the essence of our philosophy. It is. And if you don't understand Guru Tattva properly, you'll be misled. And that's what's going on in the modern ISKCON world specifically. Being misled, misinformed, and experiencing what we call cover-up. So many different untruths, so many different faults that appear in that society, and they cover them up. This is common in any group, especially political groups. And this is what this has happened. It's not truth, it's cover-up, it's misinformation and deception and deviation. And as a result, totally watered down and not effective. And we'll talk about that in this opening monologue. But before we do that, I'm going to go and read this section. Now, this is what I want all of you to do. Please listen to every word. Okay? Every word. Because every word is filled with transcendental truth. No compromise. So do not think that it's myself speaking this. I'm simply reading it like a postman. I'm reading it, but I'm not the originator. Please. Sometimes people criticize Yaśodā and myself. How come you always talk about this? Well, if I'm reading Prabhupada's message and you're listening and you're hearing it, it's not me that's speaking. It's Prabhupada. We are simply the postman. So here we go. So it's in the end of the speech, and what I want you to do is go and read this on your own, search it out, and find out what Prabhupada is telling us. So Guru means Krishna Tattva Vit, one who knows about Krishna. So Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he explains about Krishna. Krishna explains about himself. The Goswamis, Sad Goswamis, they are explaining about Krishna. And in their Parampara system, the Acharyas, they are also explaining Krishna. So if we do not go through these tattvavits, then we will misunderstand Krishna. Therefore, Narottam Das Thakur says, Rupa Raganatha Pade, Hoibe Akuti Kabe Kama Bhutajabo Sa Jugala Priti. All of a sudden, if you become a knower of the Jugala Priti, love of Radha Krishna, then there is a chance of becoming fallen. All of a sudden, there is a chance. So we should Vedanti Tattva Vidas Tattvam. We must approach the Tattvavit, one who knows the truth. Through them, through him, we should try to understand Krishna, not simply by. Therefore, they're committing so many mistakes, these speculators. Even scholars like Dr. Radha Krishna and others, they're committing so many mistakes, like our God brothers. Because they do not go through Tattvavit, there are so many political leaders who are commenting on Krishna's books without knowing Krishna, without any knowledge of Krishna. Just see their impotency. Without knowing Krishna, they want to make trade with Krishna, go into business. I sell Krishna, I become rich. I sell Krishna, I get followers. I sell Krishna, I become famous. Just like one of our God brothers, he has 70,000 disciples. And look at his body. Just see his body. Would you like to live in it? I don't think so. That is not very good. You cannot make trade commodity. Krishna as trade commodity. You cannot handle Krishna by your whims, your mind. Let you be handled by the Krishna's whims, then you'll be successful. Then my Guru Maharaj used to say, don't try to see Krishna. Do something so that Krishna may see you. That is wanted. If you cannot draw his little attention of Krishna, yat karunya katasha vaibhavadvatam katasa vaibhavatam. Prabodhananda Saraswati says, if somehow or other you can draw a little attention of Krishna, your life is successful. Immediately. And how can you draw? Bhaktyamam abhijanati, simply by serving Krishna. Take service. Take to the service of Krishna, as it is ordered by the spiritual master. And I'm going to insert this, because Prabhupada never refers to himself as the spiritual master. A.C., His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupāda. You don't hear Prabhupada say that in all of his books. I am the spiritual master. Very interesting. Thousands and thousands of pages and no reference to himself. Because spiritual master is the representative of Krishna. We cannot approach Krishna directly. Yashya prasadad bhagavat prasada. If you have a bona fide spiritual master, representative of Krishna, it is not very difficult. Everyone can become a representative of Krishna. How? If you simply carry, carefully hear this, if you simply carry the message of Krishna without any adulteration, that's all. And if you look at our opening section, we stress that. Don't change anything. Just like Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, Amara Agya Guru Hana. If you become a spiritual master under my order, so if you carry out the order of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Krishna, then you will become Guru. Simply the order. not the election. Unfortunately, we do not wish to carry out the order of the Acharya. True. We manufacture our own ways. True too. We have got practical experience, yes we do, how a great institution was lost by whimsical ways. Whimsical. And that's, Prabhupada's referring here to the Gaudiya Math, and we are referring to the ISKCON Gaudiya Math Part 2. Know that for sure, and we have experience. We manufacture our own ways. We have got a great institution was lost by whimsical ways without carrying out the order of the spiritual master. Exactly, and I'm going to speak about that after this. They manufactured something and the whole thing was lost. The whole thing was lost, and that has already happened, come to pass. Therefore, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur stresses very much on the words of the spiritual master. Then, the words Vaivashika Mika Buddhi Ekaha Kuru Nandana. If you stick to the order of the spiritual master, then without caring for your own convenience or inconvenience, then you become perfect. Yasya Devi Para Bhaktir Yata Devi Tata Goro Taishya Kata Hita Yarta Prakashananti Mahatmanaha. Okay, and we're coming to the end. This is the confirmation of all authorities. We have to carry out very faithfully the order of the bona fide representative of Krishna. Then our life will be successful. Our life is successful. Then we can understand Krishna in truth. Vedanti tat tattva vidas tattvam. We have to hear from tattvavit. Not from the so-called scholars and politicians, no one who knows the truth. We have to hear from him. And if you stick to that principle, then you understand everything very clearly. Thank you very much. The end of the speech. How did you like that, Rachisha Devi Dasi? Isn't that amazing? That is so wonderful and so clear in so many words. Now, what happened to me yesterday? I was searching through Facebook, which is, I have 30,000 members in my Facebook group. So I look around for a little while. I try to limit the amount of time I spend on it, but I take a check. And I saw a post one of our God sisters put up about Howard Resnick. Howard Resnick. And then I thought, here's the example that Prabhupada is demonstrating in this speech. Whimsical behavior. By whimsical behavior, everything is lost. Now, let's go over it. Now, I want to make sure you understand, everyone. We're not fault-finding anyone here. We're telling the truth. That's different. Fault-finding means something totally different than truth-finding. Now, the fact of the matter is, this Howard Resnick, his spiritual so-called name, which he gave up, he's no longer that person, Hridayananda, that's the name it was given by him from Śrīla Prabhupāda, is no longer practicing the teachings of Śrīla Prabhupāda in 2025. Well, how can you say that, Vishwakarma? Rochisha Devi Dasi? For example, he does not, first of all, he does not chant the Hare Krishna mantra minimum 16 rounds. Second, he's given up the sannyasi dress of devotee, a sannyas devotee. Prabhupada, when you look at pictures of Prabhupada, he looks so beautiful in his sannyas clothes, doesn't he? Actually, it's a very beautiful outfit with the tilak and neck beads and all the different trappings of a Vaishnava. He looks like an angel from the spiritual world. But Hridayananda, no, he has to wear a Ralph Lauren shirt. Oh, look at me, I've got the horse on my breast. Yeah, he doesn't wear neck beads. No, he doesn't think he's necessary to do that. Actually, neck beads are very beautiful, as Parangelo, you know. He doesn't wear tilak. Well, you don't wear look at him, he's showing us his neck beads, that's beautiful. I love looking at devotees, by the way, when they're dressed up. It brings some kind of ecstasy to me when I see someone else doing it. He doesn't have a danda anymore. No, Prabhupada, you'll see that. Prabhupada is always, he doesn't have a bead bag. Well, he doesn't chant, so he doesn't need it. What do you think about that? Is that whimsical behavior, everyone? Is that fault finding if we're describing how he acts? No, it's not. It's a fact. He was told by Prabhupada, do not go to the educational institutes and study. And he went anyway. He ignored Prabhupada's instruction, disobeyed Prabhupada, and went and got a PhD thinking that he would be recognized through this academic achievement. Complete garbage. Stupidity at the highest level. And he is stupid. Very stupid man. Unfortunately. He lives in some kind of fancy house he inherited from his relatives. I believe in Beverly Hills or somewhere like that. He plays ping pong. And he plays piano. Okay. But still, you're representing yourself as a guru of our disciplic succession? No, it's completely whimsical behavior. And think about it, Prabhus. Almost all of his so-called disciples have left him. They've gone. They've left him. Why? Because he's bogus. But still people think they refer to him as Hridayananda. It's Howard Resnick. Be clear on that. Do not give him any respect because he is not respecting the relationship between himself and our guru, His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupāda. He gets zero respect. In fact, he's misled people, unfortunately, and this is the greatest sin. Now think about it. Think about it. One of his colleagues is Hare Krishna. I don't know what his karmi name is because that's what he is to me. You're nothing but a karmi. And he runs around projecting himself as some kind of renunciant. Yeah, is that the way Lord Chaitanya represented the sannyas ashram? Anyone here support what they're doing based on Shastra? None. Zero. Zero. Zero, zero. What do you get when you add 0 plus 0? 0. Okay. And we'll finish up this explanation for all of our benefits. You know, we could go on and on, I guess, but we don't need to. What did Hare Krishna do, whatever his karmi name is, when COVID-19 or COVID, when that COVID fake epidemic spread throughout the world on all kinds of falsities? He, and I wish I had the video, Ram Raghava, we could show him saying it so that all of you don't think I'm just making this up. I saw it as clear as day. A video he gave to his so-called misled followers. You should go and vaccinate your friends and godbrothers and godsisters. You should do it. And it is a fraud like him. And that's the proof. How stupid could you be, man? You should go and kiss Bill Gates' feet and Dr. Fauci's feet, because that's who perpetrated this lie, a complete lie that's been perpetrated around the world. And whatever other things come out of it, that's another thing. But the fact is you did that, and it's proven, because you're a follower or a colleague of Howard Resnick. Both of you, birds of a feather, demons of a same feather, fall together. Not fly together, they fall together. They have fallen down from the principles of devotional service as expounded by Śrīla Prabhupāda in today's beautiful explanation of Tattva Vit. Think about it, everyone. And I want people to call me up, 289-244-4315, and tell me, you can look at the video today, call me up and ask me if I'm right or wrong. And I'll talk to you. I won't reject you. I won't kill you. I won't throw you away like some people do with their God brothers because they don't agree with them. This movement, so-called movement that they've taken over, is completely been ruined, Hinduized, spoiled, especially in North America, by their whimsical behavior. It's whimsical. There you go. That's it. I'm going to throw my notes away. Thank you, everyone. All glories to Śrīla Prabhupada and the Sankirtan movement of Lord Chaitanya. Think about it, and we're going to move forward with the next part of our program, which is Śrīla Prabhupada speaking the Krishna conscious philosophy of truth without any adulteration. Haribol.
Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Juta Padakamalam.
So, either we remain in Fiji or in England or anywhere, because Krishna is the proprietor of everything, everywhere. Sarva Loka Maheshwara. So Fiji is a small part of the Sarva Loka. So if he is the proprietor of all the lokas, then he is the proprietor of Fiji also. There is no doubt about it. So the inhabitants of Fiji, if you take to Krishna consciousness, that is the perfection of life. That is the perfection of life. Don't deviate from the instruction of Krishna. Very directly, Bhagavan was. Directly Bhagavan is speaking. To take advantage of, there is solution of all problems of the world. If you refer to Bhagavad Gita, any problem you present, there is solution, provided you take the solution. Nowadays, they are facing scarcity of food. The solution is there in the Bhagavad Gita. Krishna says, Annad bhavanti bhutani. Bhutani, all living entities, both animal and man, they can live very nicely without any anxiety, provided they have got sufficient food grains. Now what is your objection to this? This is the solution. Krishna says, Annad bhavanti bhutani. It is not utopian, it is practical. You must have sufficient food grain to feed the human being and the animal, and everything will be peaceful immediately. Because people, if one becomes hungry, he is disturbed. So give him food, first of all. That is Krishna's injunction. Is that very impossible, impractical? No. You grow food more and distribute. So much land is there. But we are not growing fruit. We are growing, we are busy in manufacturing tools and motor tires. Then now eat motor tires. But Krishna says that you grow anna, then there is no question of scarcity. Annād bhavanti bhūtāni pajjannāt anna sambhava. But anna is produced when there is sufficient rain. Pajjannāt anna sambhava. And jajñāt bhavati pajjanna. And if you perform yajna, then there will be regular rainfall. This is the way. But nobody is interested with yajna, nobody is interested with food grant, and if you create your own scarcity, then it is not God's fault, it is your fault. So take anything, any question, social, political, philosophical, religious, anything you take, and the solution is there. Just like India is now facing about this caste system. So many are in favor of the caste system, so many are not favor. But Krishna makes the solution. There is no question of in favor or not in favor. The caste system should be designated according to the quality. Chaturvarnam maya system, guna karma, never says by birth. And in the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam it is confirmed, jasahi jat lakshanam proktam varnabhi vanjakam jadi annatra vidiseta tatte naiva vinidise. Clear instruction of Narad Muni. So, we have got everything perfectly in the Vedic literature, and if we follow the Krishna Consciousness movement, is trying to educate people on this principle. We are not manufacturing anything. That is not our business. Because we know we are imperfect. Even if we manufacture something, that is imperfect. We have got 4 faults in our conditional life. We commit mistake. We become illusion. We cheat others. And our senses are imperfect. So how we can get perfect knowledge from a person who is, possessing all these faults? Therefore we must get knowledge from the Supreme Person, who is not affected with this fault, Mukta Purush. That is perfect knowledge. So our request is that you take knowledge from Bhagavad Gita and act accordingly. It doesn't matter what you are. Bhagavan is for everyone. God is God. Just like gold is gold. If gold is handled by Hindu, it does not become Hindu gold. Or the gold is handled by Christian, it does not become Christian gold. Gold is gold. Similarly, dharma is one. Religion is one. There cannot be Hindu religion, Muslim religion, Christian religion. That is artificial. Just like Hindu gold, Muslim gold. That is not possible. Gold is gold. Similarly, religion. Religion means the law given by God. That is religion. Dharmant sakshat bhagavat pranita. Navai vidu devata, manusha, like that. I just forget. That dharma, this principle of dharma, religious system, is ordained or given by God. So God is one. Therefore dharma and religious system should be one. There cannot be two.
Very interesting points there. Yaśodā-nandana Prabhu, very interesting. And I'm just going to highlight one of them. Prabhupada said, all the human being really wants is food. The scarcity of food is the first thing that they need. If they don't have food, then they get stressed. Just think about it. If you don't get food for 1 week, what happens? Well, you could die. If you don't have food, you can't live. So Prabhupada stressed this point. You grow food and you distribute it, the prasadam, to others. And don't deviate from the instructions of Krishna. Don't deviate. And we must remember, don't deviate from the instructions of Śrīla Prabhupāda. Do not manufacture or concoct your own way like these individual gurus have. So-called. They're not gurus. They're frauds, but we're going to give them, that's their title in their world. If you do that, if you listen to Prabhupada, then Prabhupada is saying, you'll be happy. You'll have everything else. And Krishna will bless you with enlightenment. Otherwise, confusion. We're going to move forward with the next part of our program, which is the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam class from the Delhi Bhagavatams, and they're gradually being distributed. We're going to get our online program going very soon with the help of our media relations team, our media team. And we want to thank you all for being a part of this mission to spread the truth without adulteration. Let's go ahead with the chanting of Jaya Radha Madhava and then the reading and discussion led by our senior editor, Yaśodā-nandana Prabhu. Haribol.
Sai.
Jaya Radha Madhava Punya Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Punya Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Gopi Jana Vallabha Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Gopi Jana Jaya Radha Madhava Punya Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Punya Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Gopi Jana Yaśodā-nandana Braja Jana Nandana Yaśodā-nandana Braja Jana Nandana Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jamuna Tira Samad Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Prabhupada ki jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnavrinda ki jai. Namacharya Śrīla Haridas Thakur ki jai. Prem se kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Sivas Adi Gaur Bhaktivinoda ki jai. Shri Radha Krishna Go Gopinath Sam Kund Radha Kund Giridhavan ki jai. Vrindavan Dham ki jai. Navadvip Dham ki jai. Swami Bhaktivinoda ki jai. Ganga Mai ki jai. Jamuna Mai ki jai. Tulasi Devi ki jai. Bhakti Devi ki jai. Swami Bhaktivinoda ki jai. All glories to the assembled Lord. All glories to the assembled Lord. Thank you very much.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. O my Lord, Sri Krishna, the son of Vasudeva, the all-pervading personality of Godhead, I offer my respectful obeisances unto you from Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam 1:1:1. Narayanam namaskritya. Narayanam namaskritya. Naram cheva narottamam. Naram cheva narottamam. Devim Saraswatim Vyasam. Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Mudirayet. Tato Jayam Mudirayet. One should utter the means of conquest, Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, after offering respectful obeisances, 1, to the personality of Godhead Narayana, 2, to the Narayana Rishi, who is the supremmost human being, 3, to the Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, then 4, to Śrīla Vyasadeva, the author, from Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam 1-4. Welcome everyone to this reading and discussion on Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. This particular reading is on the basis of the original 1972 New Delhi edition. All purports, word for word, and English synonyms and translations are from His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupāda, Founder-Ācārya of the International Society for Krishna Consciousness, also known as the Krishna Consciousness Movement. As we do every week, we will be reciting in a few selected verses from the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, first canto, second chapter, which explains the meaning and the benefit of hearing this powerful transcendental literature. Yadanudhyasina yukta karma granti nibandhanam chindanti kovitastasya kona kuryat kataratim. Intelligent persons do cut off the internet of the knot of reactionary work by remembrance of the personality of Godhead. Therefore, who will not give attention to his message? Shushrushoho Shraddhadanasya Vasudeva Kataruchihi Syan Mahat Sevaya Vipra Punyatirtha Nishevanat. O the twice-born sages, by serving those devotees who are completely freed from all ranges of vice, a standard of great service is done, and as the result of such great service, affinity in the messages of Vasudeva is made possible. Srinvatam svakata Krishna punyasravana kirtana hridyantasto yabadrani vidunoti suritsatam. Sri Krishna, the personality of Godhead, who is also the Paramatma in everyone's heart and the benefactor of the truthful devotee, thus cleanse the desire for material enjoyment in the heart of the devotee who has developed the urge for hearing his, Krishna's messages, which are themselves virtuous when properly heard and chanted. Nashtaprayeshu vabhadreshu nityam bhagavata sevaya bhagavati uttama shloke bhaktir bhavati naistiki. By regular attendance in the Bhagavatam class or rendering service unto the pure devotees, all that is inauspicious in the heart of a candidate becomes destroyed almost to nil, and thus loving service unto the personality of Godhead, who is praised with transcendental song, comes into being an irrevocable fact. Tadara justamo bhava Kamalo dayaschaye chetayetera viddam stitam sattve prasidati. As soon as irrevocable loving service is fixed up in one's heart, at that time the effects of the nature's mode of passion and ignorance, such as lust, desires, and hankerings, etc., do disappear from one's heart, and he becomes fixed up in a mode of goodness, which makes him completely happy. Evam prasanna manaso bhagavat bhakti yogataha bhagavat tattva vijnanam mukta sangasya jayati. Thus, when one is positively fixed up in a mode of unalloyed goodness, the enlivened-minded man affected by contact of devotional service of the Lord can positively know scientific knowledge of the personality of Godhead in the stage of liberation from all material association. Vidyate hridaya grantis chidyante sarva samshaya shiyante chasya karmani drishtaye vatmanishvari. The knot of one's heart is thus pierced, and all misgivings are cut into pieces. The chain of fruitive actions are terminated along with the seeing of oneself, the dominating factor. Let us proceed with our specific verse for today. We are reading from Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 7, text number 16. Tada suchaste pribrimjimami badre Yad Brahma Bandhuhu Shira Atatayinaha Gandhya Muktere Vishike Rupahare Tvakar Akamri Tvam Akramya Yatsnanyasi Dugdaputra Yada. At that time only, Suchas, tears and grief, Te your Pramrijami shall wipe out, Badre, O the gentle lady, Yad, when, Brahmabandho, of the one who is degraded amongst the Brahmins, Shira, head, Atatayinaha, of the aggressor, Gandiva Muktair, shooted by the bow named Gandiva, Vishker by the arrows, Upahare shall present to you, Tva yourself, Akramya riding on it, Yat which, Snasyasi take your bath, Dagdaputra after burning the sons. Translation by Śrīla Prabhupāda. O gentle lady, when I shall bring about the head of the Brahmin, after beheading him with the arrows of my Gandiva bow, and shall present it before you, at that time only I shall wipe out your tears in the eyes in order to pacify you, and you can take baths standing on it after burning your son's body. Purport by His Divine Grace, Śrīla Prabhupāda. An enemy who sets fire in the house, administers poison for eating, attacks all of a sudden with sharpened weapons, and plunders away wealth or usurps agricultural fields and entices one's wife is called an aggressor. such aggressor, though he may be a Brahmin or the so-called son of a Brahmin, has to be punished in all circumstances. When Arjuna promised to behead such aggressor, namely Ashwatthama, he knew it well that Ashwatthama was the son of a Brahmin, but because the so-called Brahmin acted like a butcher, he was taken as such, and there was no question of sin for killing such a Brahmin's son, who proved to be a villain. So we'll read text 17 here. Iti priyam valgu vichitra jalpaihi santetva achyuta mitra sutaha anvadravaddam shita ugra danva kapidvajo guruputram ratena iti. Thus, priyam, unto the dear, valgu, sweet, vichitra, variegated, jalpai, by statements, achyuta mitra sutaha, Arjuna, who is guided by the infallible Lord as friend and driver, anvadravat, followed, damshita, being protected by kavacha, ugradanva, equipped with furious weapons, Guruputram, the son of the martial teacher, ratena, getting on the chariot. Translation by Śrīla Prabhupāda. Arjuna, who is guided by the infallible Lord as friend and driver, thus satisfying his dear with sweet words of different description, dressed himself with protecting as well as furious weapons, and began to follow Ashwatthama, the son of his martial teacher, getting on the chariot. Om Ajnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshuran Meritam Yena Tasme Gurave Namaha Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Śrīmate Bhaktivedanta Swami Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Bhakti Siddhanta Shishyaya Bhaktivedanta Namine Prasannaya Prashantaya Tasmai Sigurave Namaha Bhagavad Vandana Khadyam Guru Vandana Purvakam Kshiram Sarkara Yuktam Kadatehi Vishesataha Adadana Strinam Danteridam Yache Punaha Punaham Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam Bhojadulishyam Janma Janmani Amsho Bhagavatosmyaham Sadadaso Asmi Sarvata Tat Kripa Pikshako Nityam Tat Prishta Sadkaromi Swam Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. This particular section of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam is very, very important. Why? We see in this particular text in the second line, Yad Brahma Bandho Shira Atatayinaha. It's interesting that Śrīla Prabhupada is giving the definition of the different kind of aggressors which can be punished. This commentary of Śrīla Prabhupada is based on the teachings of Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur and Sridhar Swami, the famous commentator on the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. Now, this is very important because sometimes the sentiment is that you should never punish a Brahmin because a Brahmin is beyond punishment. He should be protected always, even if he does something wrong. But here, it seems that there's a different opinion. Prabhupada explains, such an aggressor, though he be a Brahmana, or a so-called son of a Brahmana has to be punished in all circumstances. What happened is Ashwatthama, the son of Dronacharya, killed the 5 sons of Draupadī. He cut their heads off. And his own father, his own teacher, did not approve of this heinous act. So we will see in this chapter the whole description of how Krishna did not approve of the activities of this Ashwatthama. This is very important because sometimes, especially in India, there's the sentiment that if one is born of a Brahmin, regardless of his activities, he's always a Brahmin, but that is not a fact. That is not a fact. Because we see, for example, Śrīla Prabhupāda explains in Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, canto 4, chapter 7, text number 13. Canto 4, chapter 7, text number 13, Prabhupada explains, although Daksha felt defeated, he knew that his punishment was simply the great mercy of Lord Shiva. He remembered that Lord Shiva and Lord Vishnu are never neglectful of the Brahmanas. Even though the Brahmanas are sometimes unqualified, according to Vedic civilization, a descendant of a Brahmana family should never be heavily punished. This was exemplified in Arjuna's treatment of Ashwatthama. Ashwatthama was the son of a great Brahmana, Dronacharya, and in spite of his having committed the great offense of killing all the sleeping sons of the Pandavas, for which he was condemned even by Lord Krishna, Arjuna excused him by not killing him because he happened to be the son of a Brahmana. The word Brahma Bandhushu used here is significant. Brahma Bandhu means a person who is born of a Brahmana father, but whose activities are not up to the standard of the Brahmanas. Such a person is not a Brahmana, but a Brahma Bandhu. Daksha proved himself to be a Brahma Bandhu. He was born of a great Brahmana father, Lord Brahma, but his treatment of Lord Shiva was not exactly Brahminical. Therefore, he admitted that he was not a perfect Brahmana. Lord Shiva and Lord Vishnu, however, are affectionate even to an imperfect Brahmana. Lord Shiva punished Daksha not as one does his enemy. Rather, he punished Daksha just to bring him to his senses, so that he would know that he had done wrong. Daksha could understand this, and he acknowledged the great mercy of Lord Krishna and Lord Shiva towards the fallen Brahmanas, including even himself. Although he was fallen, his vow was to execute the sacrifice, as is the duty of Brahmanas, and thus he began his prayers to Lord Shiva. Now, there's a lot of discussion. For example, in the Vedanta Sutra, there is description that those who are born as Shudras should not recite the Vedas, that they're not qualified to be Vedas. Well, that's interesting. Of course, what constitutes a Shudra? In the Skanda Purana, there's description, Kalo Shudra Sambhava, that in the age of Kali Yuga, everyone is born as a Shudra. This is very important. Samskarat bhavet dvijaha, by samskara, one becomes a dvija, or twice born. Śrīla Prabhupāda explains in his teachings, especially in the Bhagavad Gita in chapter 4, it is explained, Chaturvarnyam maya srisnam guna karma vibhagasaha, that the 4 divisions of human society, Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishnava, and Shudras, are according to guna and karma. It is not according to birth. There are many examples of this in Vedic literatures. We see in the life of His Divine Grace, Srila Bhaktivedanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada, how he went and spoke, gave a very important lecture to an assembly of Brahmanas in Bengal, explaining the position of the Vaishnava and the Brahmanas, and quoting from all Vedic scriptures, explaining that Brahmana is by conduct and activities, not simply by birth. Now, in previous yugas, in Draupadī Yuga, many times people were highly qualified. They would be born in a family of Brahmanas and would receive the training. But in Kali Yuga, it is very difficult, very different. Janmana Jayati Shudra, in the Skanda Purana, that in this age of Kali, everyone is born as a Shudra. And you can become a Brahmana by spiritual activities. How does one become a Brahmana? By taking shelter of a bona fide, self-realized, authorized Acharya like Śrīla Prabhupāda. This is how, and getting properly trained. This is the recommendation of the Chandogya Upanishad. Acharyavan Purusho Veda. One should take shelter of the bona fide, self-realized Acharya. Same instruction is given in Bhagavad Gita. Acharya upasanam socham. One should worship the Acharya. One should accept the Acharya and undergo proper training. So what is that training? Prabhupada has made it very simple. Chant Hare Krishna. Stop the sinful activities of meat eating, gambling, intoxication, illicit sex. Engage in practical service. First of all, read the books. Read the transcendental books, the bona fide books, the non-adulterated books. And in this way, one will rise to the platform of a Brahmana under the guidance and authority of the Acharya, of the bona fide Acharya. Now, what happens if one is not qualified as an Acharya, but yet acts as an Acharya? That creates a problem. Prabhupada was never very fond of cheap imitation. There's a lot of warnings by Śrīla Prabhupada in his books and his teachings. Do not imitate the Uttamadhikari. There's one conversation where Prabhupada said, if a Kanishtadhikari imitates the Uttamadhikari, immediately he becomes a rascal. Immediately a rascal. One should follow in the footsteps, not cheap, impudent imitation. And this is very important. We see here the word in the Sanskrit text, Brahmabandhu, friend of the Brahmanas. Friend of the Brahmana is very nice. Now there's another, somebody recently suggested, nowadays we have a phenomenon, Vaishnav Bandhu or Guru Bandhu. Many people posing as Vaishnavas or Gurus, not qualified, not authorized, by vote or by election, simply nonsense. We have Brahma Bandhus, and now we have a whole generation of Guru Bandhus. How does one become a bona fide follower? Do not change the instruction and do not behave whimsically. That lecture that Vishwakarma Prabhu was reading in the beginning section of our program is very important. Prabhupada points out a great institution was destroyed by whimsical behavior. Same thing in 1937, same thing in the post-1977. Whimsical behavior, concocting, manufacturing interpretations. And it's still ongoing. It's still ongoing every day, especially you see it on Facebook, so many people protesting. Oh, how can Prabhupada be the guru? Well, he is the guru, you just don't accept it. You just don't understand it. You got to clear your brain cells. He has always been the guru. It is not a matter that Prabhupada is dead and gone. That is nonsense. Bhaktivedanta Thakur, Srila Bhaktivedanta Thakur has given his verdict in Jagannath Puri on the Samadhi of Haridas Thakur. He reasons ill who tells that Vaishnavas die. That whole philosophy of Guru is dead is based on ill reasoning, false reasoning. There's a very interesting lecture by Śrīla Prabhupada on August 16th, 1976 in Bombay, India, where Achyutananda, Gopal Krishna, and Yasomati Nandan are discussing with Śrīla Prabhupada, and Prabhupada explains why this Gaudiya Math failed. Prabhupada, they tried to become more than Guru. Prabhupada said Guru Maharaj gave so many instructions, and the real point he missed. Same thing with our society. Prabhupada gave so many instructions, and the real point he missed. They will not accept the instruction of Prabhupada and go on arguing and arguing. How Prabhupada can't do this, Prabhupada can't do that. We follow the tradition, we follow this tradition, that tradition. Our only tradition is to follow the instruction and the order of the Acharya. That is our only instruction. We don't need the interpretation of caste Brahmins, caste Goswamis, Sahajiyas, Neo-Mats, and so many people. We don't need that. Rupa Goswami just posted, Prabhupada warned in 1974, we shall not make the same mistake in our ISKCON camp. What did they do? They made exactly that same mistake. We've said it. Do not become victimized by the propaganda of the LJEP, the Living Guru Experimental Project, and the SAS, self-appointed Acharya system. This is very important. There is plenty of instruction, plenty of warnings. Take shelter of Śrīla Prabhupada, always. Hare Krishna, back to you in this.
Hare Krishna, thank you very much. Well spoken, by the way. That was beautiful. I loved it. And it was important to note that punishment is also something that Krishna administers to the deviants, the demons. And it was meant to help that demon or deviant to rectify their ways and become fixed in devotional service without motivation. So there's a reason. There's another point, Yaśodā-nandana Prabhu, some people don't realize that Prabhupada also chastised his disciples. And they'll say to us, well, Prabhupada wouldn't do that. He wouldn't kick people out of his movement. He wouldn't banish them. Yes, there are many examples. I won't bring them up. But there are many examples of Prabhupada rejecting people that would not follow the process. Like one devotee came in front of him. He had long hair. He had a beard. He was not carrying a bead bag. And Prabhupada told him, you're not my disciple. That's a fact. You're not my, yes, I am, he insisted. And the answer was, no, you're not. Because a disciple follows the orders of his spiritual master. That's what disciple means. It doesn't mean dress. It means participation in carrying out the orders of the spiritual master. So Prabhupada loved to see his, for example, Yaśodā-nandana Prabhu tells the story of when he was growing a beard. And he went before Prabhupada and explained, oh, this is part of our Chaturmasya program. And Prabhupada told him, no, go shave your beard off. Because Śrīla Prabhupada was strict. So sometimes you can be chastised. You could be chastised by a senior devotee like temple president. Temple president, what was the term, Yaśodā? It was called giving the sauce. All of you can memorize that, okay? There's such a thing as getting the sauce. What was it, Mother Ruchisha? You were told, don't do this, don't do that, don't do this. It's not the way Prabhupada wanted you to conduct yourself in his association. Now, should you be offended if you're told you're wrong? No. You should take it as mercy. Oh, I've been corrected. Sometimes people object to that. Well, we understand it's not easy to be told what to do, especially if you've got an ego, a big ego, and your ego may get bruised. Oh, the guy told me I wasn't doing very good. Well, that goes on everywhere. Even in work, for example, people work in a particular job and they're constantly, whether it's right or wrong, they're being corrected. This, that, by a so-called leader who is trying to protect his job. So it's all false ego, insanity. But this goes on. But in the ISKCON world, Prabhupada would try to instruct his devotees and be strict. I know I was afraid to speak in front of Śrīla Prabhupāda. I was. I remember, because you would say something, you think, maybe he'll say to me, don't you read the books? I've already explained it. Like I asked that question, as you know, years ago, Yaśodā, and I've told the story. I was on a morning walk, and Tamal Krishna had introduced a bogus philosophy in our movement that if you get married, you've fallen down. That's what he was saying. Oh, people that get married that are brahmachari, they've fallen down. And he was so proud of him being a sannyasi. And I asked Prabhupada that question, is it considered a fall down if you get married? And Prabhupada looked at me, he said, where is the question of fall down when you're already fallen? So this type of instruction by the temple president or a senior Vaishnava who knows the philosophy is meant to help people rectify their contaminated perspective on this philosophy. We are not perfect, none of us. And we should look upon chastisement as blessing, not as a curse. The false ego is very, very difficult to remove from a person's personality. Yes. And this is something that goes on. Now, a little bit more, I wanted to say this, Yaśodā-nandana Prabhu, to our group. In franchising, they have a term called critical mass. It means, I'm not going to explain about franchising systems, but it means that at a certain point, a group of stores grow to a state of self-sufficiency. I think nowadays it might be 15 stores. So if you have a franchise, say like Tim Hortons, they have like thousands. That's a Canadian store. Started here in Hamilton where I live. And where I am, it's only like 5 minutes from my house, the first store. Now it's spreading all over the world. They have 5,000 stores. And they've reached what's called critical mass, where it's self-sufficient. It runs because of the membership growth. Now, in our particular situation, look at here, we're looking at the class numbers today. Now, we probably have, a lot of people are going to the YouTube channel and just tuning in and watching it on their TV, and they're listening. So they're not participating personally in the program. You know, and some people come on time. Some people don't show up maybe till the end of the program. But we have people that are participating in the program. This is called, for us, I'm saying critical mass. We've reached over 15. Okay, is that good? How many people would we like? Well, we'd like thousands of people to be a part of this, but why don't they? Because they're not interested, they're not serious, and they don't want to hear the truth for some particular reason based on their false ego, their conception of what they think this philosophy should be preached as. That's their business, and they're entitled to their independent free will. But that is not part of a team. Understand me. I was talking about this the other day. Sports. Sports is not built with hundreds and hundreds of athletes. A team that's a championship team is built with a few. Very interesting. With a few people. Yeah. Like here in Toronto, I should say. In 2019, there was a Toronto team that won the NBA championship. It's very hard to do that for them. In any sports team, like there are 32 teams in the particular league, I think it's the baseball league, it's very hard to win. You can spend hundreds of millions of dollars, $1 billion, and you still may not win. Because teamwork is what makes champions. And this group, what we have, is a championship group. That's what I'm saying. We have a lot of people here that are really good devotees. How do I know? Because I know. And Yaśodā knows, and some of us know. How do you know? We have the experience. Yes, we do. And someone will say, well, you don't really know. You're not Prabhupada. If you simply repeat what Prabhupada has spoken without any self-motivation for self-aggrandizement or whatever other motive you may have, then people should accept what is said by the disciples because it's being transmitted without change. And offenses against them are very serious. And offenses should not be minimized. Offenses are serious. To blaspheme a devotee that's dedicated his life for the propagation of Krishna consciousness, and you blaspheme them, you call them, in my case, they called me that Christian, what was Judas? The guy calls me Judas, one of my godbrothers. Now, that's blasphemy. I don't care, it's just superficial. The dogs will bark when you go on the camel train through the village. They'll say, oh, he's a Judas. That doesn't matter. But the fact of the matter is there is punishment for blasphemy. If we're repeating the words of the spiritual master according to how we've heard them and it's proper, and people think, oh no, I don't want to hear this. I won't come. I'm going to go join another group. That's okay. Go ahead. But it's still blasphemy. That's a fact. And somehow or other, people should be aware of this. Oh, Yaśodā, go ahead, please. I'm sorry.
Somebody recently made a point to me that Christianity had one Judas. How many Judases did we have? How many Judases did Prabhupada have infiltrate into his movement? I mean, Prabhupada complained in 1972 that the great sinister movement has infiltrated this society. So it's not something new. I mean, he had a lot of so-called disciples who basically did not follow his instruction and acted in all kinds of deviated and unconscionable ways. Now, we're not going to make a whole part of discuss this issue as part of this program, but there's a lot of people who do not agree with the behavior and the political nonsense of many of the misleaders in that organization.
Yes, thank you. And the point I want to make further, let's move forward with the discussion. We've created a program here, which is based on Shastra, Guru, Shastra, Sadhu. And we represent this philosophy of Śrīla Prabhupāda. And when you see the beautiful opening and soon closing that's been created by our team and by especially Mother Shreya, and thank you very much for your efforts in helping us to do this, it's very clear that what we say is unchanged, unadulterated. We're simply repeating, and we can be corrected. But when you come to these programs, you don't hear only people speak. You see all of the quotes that are put up on the screen. You see all of the purports that are put up on the screen. You see all, like today, it was so beautiful, Prabhu Yaśodā-nandana Prabhu, those verses that you quote at the beginning of the Bhagavatam. Now someone was, well, he does it every week. Oh, I don't want to hear those verses. Just go ahead and do the speech. No. Prabhupada taught him how to do these classes personally. And I was rehearing the verses again today. I love hearing them. Nasta prayeshu abradeshu nityam bhagavata sevaya. And I'm chanting along and I'm reading along with you. I'm reading off the screen. I'm going, if people just heard those verses and accepted those as a fact and followed these principles, they go back to Godhead just by that. Just one verse is potent enough. What to speak of all the verses, all the purports, and that is what we want our group to become. The championship team. Yes, the championship team. We don't need a lot of people, but everyone has to be a fixed up devotee, Pierangelo. That's what this is about. And we're going to keep on stressing this as time marches on, while we still have time. And everybody become as good as possible. I'm a fallen soul. I know that. I'm trying. And I'm enjoying. These classes are very important. They're sadhana. And they're truth. And the fact of the matter is, the more we present these classes, because think about it, Yaśodā, Nandana Prabhu, when Prabhupada was present, say for instance, I remember being in Mayapur, at many classes, I've attended maybe 175 classes of Śrīla Prabhupāda in my lifetime. And that was very hard to stay awake. You remember that? People were so exhausted most of the time that it was hard. I used to pinch myself on my leg. Don't fall asleep, don't fall asleep. Concentrate, listen. Try to hear what's being said. These classes that we've created for everybody have all kinds of reference to Śrīla Prabhupāda's teachings. Whatever the Acharya says is perfect. So we are going to show all these classes. We're going to show all the purports. We're going to show all the letters. We're going to show all the instructions as much as we can within these programs to educate our group so this group becomes a championship team. Oh, yes. And the more that all of you step up, the more ecstatic we all will become. And that is our responsibility. There are lots of different groups wandering around on this planet. Yes, there are. There's a group in Bangalore. There's a group in England. There's a group here. There's a group there. All different than us. We're very much different. And we want everybody to understand. Teamwork makes dreams work. Teamwork makes dreams work. And if we create a championship team with our group, then this will please Śrīla Prabhupada and we'll get the attention of Krishna. Do not try to act in such a way that you're trying to see Krishna. Act in such a way that Krishna will see you. Yes, that's the point. And Prabhupada stressed that today. So thank you very much, everyone, for being a part of this team. Step up. Look, if you lead, then we'll follow. How about that? If you lead, we will follow you, because we need to be inspired by other people. You lead, we will follow. That's one of our sayings, isn't it? We're going to move forward with our next section of the program. which is another lecture by Śrīla Prabhupāda. Ram Raghava, what's it called? Oh, wait a minute.
Our Living Guru.
Hold on. Now, Hugh has section you referred to today, a letter from Pusta Krishna. Before we move to that, maybe you could read that letter and make a comment. Thank you. Go ahead.
So, Hare Krishna. This is a letter, this is a conversation between Śrīla Prabhupada and a sannyasi named Pusta Krishna. And Prabhupada says, why your dress is not as a sannyasi? Pusta Krishna. The robes make people uncomfortable, Prabhupada. They see you as different and can't relate. They won't relax enough to listen when I wear robes. Prabhupada. But sannyasis must dress in saffron with robes and shaven head. Pusta Krishna. I am following all the principles, but the dress is external and superficial. Why should we let it hamper the preaching? Prabhupada. If the dress is superficial, why should you change your dress to please people who are so serious about superficial? You understand my point? Superficial people become controlled by superficial and external things. Why do you dress to please superficial people? You should dress to please Krishna. Pusta Krishna. So you would like me to wear, so you would like me wear saffron and shave up? Prabhupada, yes, I want you to promise this. Only wear saffron and keep your head shaved. This is sannyasi dress. You should promise. Pusta Krishna, yes, Prabhupada, I promise.
Yeah, I wanted, before we roll the video of this next section, I wanted Yaśodā-nandana Prabhu, please, Prabhu, tell the story about, I think it was Jambavan who came in front of Prabhupada with the beard and hair. Tell that story for us.
It was not Jambavan, it was another devotee.
Okay.
Basically, what happened, it was in Hawaii in the evening in Honolulu at the temple. And Śrīla Prabhupada in the evening would take his milk. So this devotee came in there, paid his obeisances, and he had a beard and long hair down, not very downish his back, but enough that it was long enough. And Prabhupada says, who are you? And devotee says, well, I'm so and such, I'm your disciple. And Prabhupada says, you're not my disciple. And devotee was surprised, and he said, well, you initiated me at such and such place, on such and such date, in such and such city. Prabhupada, it doesn't matter. You're not a disciple. You don't follow my instruction. And Prabhupada pointed out to Paramamsa Swami and Guru Kripa Swami, he says, this is disciple. Okay, just leave it there for now. Prabhupada said, this is disciple, shaven head, tilak, dhoti, Mangalarti, morning program, Samkirtan, evening program, chanting 16 rounds. This is disciple, not this nonsense. And he kept arguing. So Prabhupada took his milk cup and he slammed it on the desk. He says, I'm an old man. Let me drink my milk. You can go now. So basically, Prabhupada was not very happy with the attitude of this person keeping beard and long hair. And if you can display that last Ram Raghava Prabhu, there's a conversation with Prabhupada here. Okay, Prabhupada, now I say, I'll repeat that anyone who is keeping long hair is no more my disciple. Devotee, all right. Prabhupada, this is the first condition. Devotee, does that apply also for a householder dharma, or is that simply for brahmachari dharma? Even you, I have pictures of you on the Bhagavatam when you did not have shaved head, but a mustache when you are doing your business as a householder. So does that apply to householders or only to brahmacharis? That a householder must also keep a shaved head, or is that? Prabhupada, at that time, I was not initiated. You were seeing my picture of mustaches at that time, I was not initiated. Since I became initiated, I have shaven. Devotee, well, in India, where one can do business, Prabhupada, I can. Why you're bringing this question? You ask why you had mustaches. I say, when I had mustaches at that time, I was not initiated. That answer is given. That's all. So this is a very important point that Prabhupada is explaining. And there are numerous other references in Prabhupada's teachings to keeping beards, keeping mustaches, keeping hair. I had personal experience in 1972 in Vrindavan in October during the Nectar of Devotion lecture, when Prabhupada in the evening, he would receive people in his room. And many times Prabhupada would lean back on his pillow and he put his knee up and he would keep his bead bag and very slowly chant. And he would listen to people talking. So some Indian sadhu came there with long hair, big mustache, and some kind of big red tilak. And Prabhupada is looking at him, smiling at everything. So the person spoke for a few minutes, he paid his obeisances and went away. And when he left, Prabhupada said, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was not very fond of this beard and mustaches and long hair. That was his opinion. So we understood very clearly Prabhupada's direction. But it's become very popular these days. I see people with goatees, beards, mustaches. Why? Why can't you shave the hair and shave the head? I mean, for many years, I used to work for a law firm and I used to shave the whole head. I do what's called Avyakta Shika by mantra. Now I have a little Shika, but if this was Prabhupada's instruction, why keep the beard? What do you accomplish with the beard? In the Chaitanya Charitamrita, there's the story of Sanatana Goswami. After he left Bengal to meet Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in Varanasi, he had grown long hair and a beard. And the servant of Lord Chaitanya went to the door and told Lord Chaitanya, there's a Dharavesha, like a hobo. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, no, let him shave. So the Prabhupada mentions in a purport that we keep shaven heads and clear. This is our style. This was Prabhupada's instruction, and devotees should follow that. Very simple, not complicated.
Very simple, and it's not a big deal, really. It was years ago in a sense, Prabhu? Like we were so in the 70s, that long hair was the style. So everybody thought, oh, I like my long hair. I know it was hard for me to shave my head. Back then, I thought, geez, I look so good. But it was superficial. You've all heard the story of liquid beauty, haven't you? Where people are so enamored by their bodies that they think, oh, I'm so beautiful. But then with liquid beauty, the lady showed after an evening what came out of her body: bile, pus, stool, urine. We're so much attached to this material body, but it's superficial to the soul. We think we're the body, and these beards and this hair, it's ugly. I say that to people. Your hair is ugly. They go, well, you shouldn't say that to me. Well, you look stupid. These are my friends, of course, and they laugh at me. But it's interesting to note, Yaśodā, that nowadays things have changed so much, it doesn't really matter. You know, you go out on the street, you can put anything on your head and people will just say, oh, it's just another freak or a weird person. But we're not weird. We have a reason for the Sika. And people, I've said this before in our talks, that I get complimented. Geez, I like your hairstyle. If I could only have been this way back in 1971 when I shaved my head, I was so attached. Of course, I have no choice now, but at the same time, it's not a big issue. It's a small thing, but if it's a big issue in your brain, that's your problem, not ours. Oh yeah, it is. It's your problem. So you could keep it. It doesn't matter to us what you do, but how you act. But these are points that should be accepted as a fair teaching of what this process is to those that are interested in taking this movement seriously. If you're not serious, it's self-evident in your actions. So that's all for that. And that's all I can think of right now. There's been a lot. Let's go for this next section of the program, which is another lecture by Śrīla Prabhupāda on the purpose of human life.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Usually we have the reading of Our Living Guru at this time.
Oh, sorry. Let's go. Yaśodā-nandana, thank you. Go ahead. Yaśodā, we're going to read from the Living Guru, and he's going to show
So we are
some-
reading from this booklet called Our Living Guru, page number 7. Question: it seems that clear that the only person who fits this strict definition of eternal preceptor guru or Mahabhagavata is Śrīla Prabhupada, right? Answer: some of Śrīla Prabhupada's followers have not agreed. Shortly after Śrīla Prabhupada departed in November 1977, members of the Governing Body Commission, GBC, started spreading the idea that Śrīla Prabhupada was no longer actually a living guru, and that before disappearing, he had expressly appointed some of the GBC's men as his successors or living gurus. Tape appoints officiating priests, Ritvik. The new living gurus also brought forward a tape wherein Śrīla Prabhupada allegedly ordained them as his successors. Yet on the actual tape, when asked about initiations, when you are no longer with us, Śrīla Prabhupada stated, I shall recommend some of you to act as officiating gurus or acharya. When asked whether his reply meant Ritvik acharya or ritual priest, Śrīla Prabhupada answered yes. Tape not circulated. So for would-be eternal gurus, the so-called appointment tape was really a disappointment. But perhaps because the tape was mostly heard about and not factually available to be actually heard, the appointment claim survives. Letter confirming Prabhupada's arrangement, officiating representative. Śrīla Prabhupada also confirmed his intention to select some of his students as officiating representatives. In a letter signed by him dated 9th of July, 1977, he clearly set the guidelines for the representative. Quote, after considering the recommendation, these representatives may accept the devotee as an initiated disciple of Śrīla Prabhupada by giving a spiritual name, or in the case of second initiation, by chanting on the Gayatri thread, just as Śrīla Prabhupada has done. The newly initiated devotees are disciples of His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupāda, the above 11 senior devotees acting as his representatives. Reconfirmation of the officiant priest nomination. In a conversation with his secretary, Śrīla Prabhupada confirmed his intent, continue to be a Ritvik officiating priest and act on my Prabhupada's charge. Conversation 19th of July, 1977. Is it clear? Śrīla Prabhupada is a Trikalagnya or perfectly realized yogi with knowledge of past, present, and future, knew that some of his disciples would still not clearly understand his intent for them to function as deputies and officiating acharyas. As such, in a not too well-known conversation hidden by some GBC from the rest of the devotees until official publication, a nominal 1,000 copy release in 1990, with some of his leading disciples 1 month before his departure, he clearly uses the word deputy 5 times in one conversation with regards to initiation after his physical demise. I have deputed some of my disciples to initiate. Is it clear? Guru appointments condemned. Moreover, Śrīla Prabhupada had often expressed profound disapproval of guru appointments, as for instance in a lecture on Chaitanya Charitamrita on 19th April 1967. In our mission, my spiritual master never designated anybody as acharya. So let's leave it there for now, and we will continue on Wednesday with the Chaitanya Charitamrita reading. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna.
Yeah, and this is the point, everyone. We're going over these points so that you get a full understanding of the whole pastime during Prabhupada's arrival, his diaries, all the way up to 2025, and all the scandals and misrepresentation and cover-ups that have gone on, to educate us and then to carry on with our mission, which is to maintain Prabhupada's teachings without any change. We're going to go to this next section, which is another lecture by Śrīla Prabhupāda. So thank you very much. Please listen.
Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Juta Padakamalam.
So we have to learn that. How we have to see the beauty of spiritual life. Then naturally we shall be refrained from material activities. Just like a child, a boy, he is all day mischief making and playing. But if he is given some good engagement, there are now so many devices by the educational department, kindergarten system or this system or that system. But if he is engaged, form A, form B. So he learns at the same time A, B, C, and at the same refrains from his mischievous activity. Similarly, there are things, kindergarten system of spiritual life. If we engage our activities in that spiritual activities, then only it is possible to refrain from this material activity. Activities cannot be stopped. Activities cannot be stopped. That's the same example that Arjuna, rather before hearing Bhagavad Gita, he became inactive, not to fight. But after hearing Bhagavad Gita, he became more active, but transcendentally active. The spiritual life or transcendental life does not mean that we are free from activity. Simply artificially, if we sit down, no more I shall do anything material, I shall simply meditate. Oh, what meditation you will do? Your meditation will be in a moment broken. Just like even Vishwamitra Muni, he could not continue his meditation. You have to always 100% be engaged in spiritual activity. That should be your program of life. Rather in spiritual life you will hardly find any time to get out of it. You have got so much engagement. So, Rasovadya. And that engagement can only be possible when you find some transcendental pleasure in it. So that will be done. That will be done. Ādau saddha tato sadhu sangha. Spiritual life begins, first of all, saddha, some faith. Just like you are coming here kindly to hear me, you have got a little faith. This is the beginning. Without faith, you could not spare your time here, because here there is no cinema playing, there is no political talks, nothing of this. It may be to some it is very dry subject. Very dry subject. But still you come. Why? Because you have got some little faith. Oh, here is Bhagavad Gita. Let us hear it. So the faith is the beginning. The faithless cannot have any spiritual life. Faith is the beginning. Ādau saddha. Saddha. And this faith, faithfulness, as much it is intensified, you make your progress fast. So this faith has to be intensified. The beginning is the faith. And now, as you make your faith intensified, so you become progressive in the spiritual path. Sadhu saddha, tatu sadhu sangha. If you have got some faith, then you'll find out some sadhu or some saint, some sage, who can give you some spiritual enlightenment. That is called sadhu sangha. Ādau saddha. The basic principle is saddha, and the next step is sadhu sangha. Association of spiritually realized persons. That is called sadhu. Ādau saddha tato sadhu sangha tato bhajana kriya. And if there is actually association of a spiritually self-realized person, then he will give you some process of spiritual activities that is called bhajana kriya. Sadhu saddha tato sadhu sangha tato bhajana kriya tata anartha nivitti syat. And as you are more and more engaged in spiritual side, spiritual activities, so proportionately your material activities and affection for material activities will diminish. Counteraction. When you engage in spiritual activities, your material activities diminishes. But mind that material activities and spiritual activities, the difference is that suppose you are engaged as a medical man, you don't think that if I become spiritually engaged, then I have to give up my profession. No. That is not. You have to spiritualize your profession. Just like Arjuna, he was a military man. He became a spiritualist, that means he spiritualized his military activity. So these are the techniques. Sadhu saddha tato sadhu sangha tato bhajana kriya ata anartha nivitti syat. Anartha means that creates my miseries. Material activities will continue to increase my misery. And if you adopt spiritual life, then your material miseries will be gradually decrease and practically it will be nil. And when we are actually free from material affinities, then your real spiritual life begins. Tatha Shakti, you become attached. You cannot give up anymore. When your anartha nivittis, when your material activities completely stop, then you cannot give up. Tatha Shakti. Sadhu saddha tato sadhu sangha tato bhajana kriya tata anartha nivittis syat tato nishtha. Nishtha means faith. Your faith becomes more firm, fixed, steady. Tato nishtha, tato ruchi. Ruchi means you will simply hanker after spiritual things. You won't like to hear anything except spiritual message. You won't like to do anything except spiritual activities. You won't like to eat anything which is not spiritualized. So your life will be changed. Tato nishtha, tatha shakti, then attachment, then bhava. Then you will be transcendentally, to say, ecstatic side. There will be some ecstasy. And that is these are the different states called highest platform of spiritual life. Tato bhava. Tato bhava. Bhava, that bhava stage is the right platform from where you can directly talk with the Supreme Lord.
You can directly talk with the Supreme Lord. Can you imagine that? It's hard to imagine. And Prabhupada mentioned here intensified, that when you become fixed up, you have an intense desire to hear about Krishna and hear about Guru Tattva, the truth, and it becomes blissful. You become happy, right, Rachisha Devi Dasi? You become happy. She lives a very secluded life, but she's not by herself because she's with all of us. And I have to say this on your behalf, Mataji, that you feel that your life has changed dramatically since you found this opportunity to become associated with Prabhupada's mission through this group of people. Oh, yes. And I wanted to say, before we move to the next section, Ram Raghava, just one thing. We've changed the program. You can see that. It's evolving. We're working on it. And now it's up to almost 9 hours a week. 9 hours. It's intensified. And some people may come, some people may not come, some people will give us up because it's too much time. They're busy. Well, I have to go to the store, I have to do something with my wife. You can have 1,000 different reasons why you can't be a part of this. That's all right. But it's not that much time. There's 168 hours a week that we spend wasting time, sleeping, eating, whatever. And this opportunity that we have of 9 hours, 8 to 9 hours of philosophy, of hearing and chanting. And when you're on your deathbed, let me say that, when you are out of contact with life, because when you get sick, by the way, you're out of the regular stream of activity. I've been in the hospital. I know what it's like. I had 5 cancer operations. I can remember that. I'd be lying in bed there. That was it. And then the person would come, "Oh, it's your turn to get operated on." I said, "Here we go." I took my bag into every operation. I chanted. The staff, the doctors, the nurses, at one operation, they started chanting Hare Krishna while I was, just before I went out on the, but I'm out of commission. And someday, all of us will be like that, where you will not be able to do anything except die. And remember all of the good things that you had in your opportunity of time, associating with all of us at the Prabhupada Disciples Association, Hare Krishna Society. 9 hours a week classes. It's a blessing, and we're very happy that we're all together in this opportunity. So we're going to move forward with the next section of the program, which is the offenses in chanting Hare Krishna. Haribol.
Nectar of Devotion, Chapter 8, Offenses to be Avoided. The offenses against the chanting of the holy name are as follows. First, to blaspheme the devotees who have dedicated their lives for propagating the holy name of the Lord. Second, to consider the names of demigods like Lord Shiva or Lord Brahma to be equal to or independent of the name of Lord Vishnu. Sometimes the atheistic class of men take it that any demigod is as good as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Vishnu. But one who is a devotee knows that no demigod, however great he may be, is independently as good as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Therefore, if someone thinks that he can chant Kali, Kali or Durga, Durga, and it is the same as Hare Krishna, that is the greatest offense. Third, to disobey the orders of the spiritual master. Fourth, to blaspheme the Vedic literature or literature in pursuance of the Vedic version. Fifth, to consider the glories of chanting Hare Krishna to be imagination. Sixth, to give some interpretation on the holy name of the Lord. Seventh, to commit sinful activities on the strength of the holy name of the Lord. Because by chanting the holy name of the Lord, one can be freed from all kinds of sinful reactions. It should not be taken that one may continue to act sinfully and after that chant Hare Krishna to neutralize his sins. Such a dangerous mentality is very offensive and should be avoided. 8. To consider the chanting of Hare Krishna as one of the auspicious ritualistic activities which are offered in the Vedas as fruitive activities. Karma Kanda. 9th. To instruct a faithless person about the glories of the holy name. Anyone can take part in chanting the holy name of the Lord. But in the beginning, one should not be instructed about the transcendental potency of the Lord. Those who are too sinful cannot appreciate the transcendental glories of the Lord, and therefore it is better not to instruct them in this matter. 10th, to not have complete faith in the chanting of the holy names, and to maintain material attachments, even after understanding so many instructions on this matter. Every devotee who claims to be a Vaishnava must guard against these offenses in order to quickly achieve the desired success.
Hare Krishna Krishna